Hello friends, and welcome back to our channel and our journey through these ancient narratives. In our previous episode, we spoke about the hope born in the quiet of a Bethlehem stable, the arrival of Jesus into the world. Today, our story introduces a group of mysterious guests coming from the distant lands of the East. Who were these men known as the Magi? Was that bright light they saw in the sky a literal star or a divine compass? And most importantly, why did their arrival stir an entire empire? If you want to be part of this mystic journey through the dusty pages of history, you are in the right place. Before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and hit that notification bell so we can keep bringing these stories to life. Your support helps us tell these tales to the entire world. If you're ready, let's follow that great star glowing in the silence of the desert. It all began in the East, in a land where science and faith were deeply intertwined. The Gospel of Matthew tells us that Magi arrived in Jerusalem. We usually know them as the 3 wise men or 3 kings, though the text doesn't specify their exact number. We assumed there were 3 because of the 3 distinct gifts they brought. These were no ordinary travelers. They were astronomers and scholars, likely from Mesopotamia or Persia, who understood the language of the stars. One night, they noticed a star so bright and unique they had never seen anything like it before. For them, this wasn't just an astronomical event. It was a sign that ancient prophecies were being fulfilled. The King of the Jews had been born. Think about that for a moment. They left their comfortable lives, their palaces, and their vast libraries just to follow a light. They embarked on a dangerous journey that lasted weeks, perhaps even months. This is a story of unshakable faith and immense curiosity. The wise men finally arrived in Jerusalem. Naturally, hearing that a new king had been born, their first stop was the palace of the current ruler, Herod the Great. The question they asked shook the entire city and the royal court to its core. Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him. Now, friends, this question was a nightmare for Herod. Herod was a ruthless and paranoid ruler who would kill his own family members just to protect his throne. The people of Jerusalem were troubled because a new king meant a shift in power and potential conflict. Herod immediately summoned the chief priests and teachers of the law and asked, "Where is the Messiah to be born?" They pointed to the words of the prophet Micah from centuries earlier, in Bethlehem in the land of Judah. Herod then called the Magi secretly and told them a lie. "Go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me, so that I too may go and worship him." Of course, his intent was not worship, but to eliminate the child he saw as a rival. As the wise men left the palace, that mysterious star appeared before them once again. The Bible says that when they saw the star, they were overjoyed. The star led them until it stopped over the place where the child was. This is an interesting detail. Jesus was likely no longer in a stable, but in a house, and perhaps a year or 2 old by then. When the Magi entered, they didn't find a prince in a grand palace. Instead, they found a small child in a simple home with his mother, Mary. But they were not deceived by outward appearances. They bowed down and worshipped him. The wisest men in the world knelt before a child. So, what was the meaning behind those famous gifts? Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. These were not chosen at random. Each carried a deep symbolic meaning regarding the identity of Jesus. 1. Gold, the most precious gift for a king. It symbolized that Jesus was the King of Kings. 2. Frankincense, used in priestly duties and worship. It represented Jesus' divine nature and the prayers rising to heaven. 3. Myrrh, used in ancient times for embalming and as a medicine to dull pain. This was a somber gift, symbolizing the suffering and death Jesus would eventually endure for the salvation of humanity. At the end of their visit, God warned the wise men in a dream, "Do not go back to Herod." So they outsmarted the tyrant and returned to their own country by another route. This story shows us that true knowledge and wisdom always lead a person to the truth. The wise men gave up their comfort to follow a light, and in the end, they found the peace they were looking for in the innocence of a child. Herod, meanwhile, remained in the darkness of fear and hatred. Today, we are all looking for a star in our own life journeys. Sometimes through science, sometimes through faith, or sometimes just through curiosity, we chase the truth. The story of the wise men reminds us that what we are looking for might be found in a place much more humble than we expect. True royalty is not found on golden thrones, but in hearts filled with love and surrender. Dear friends, we have reached the end of our episode on the star and the wise men. What do you think that star represents today? What is the bright light in your life that leads you toward the truth? Let's meet in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this mystical journey. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. In our next episode, we will focus on the darker side of this story, the flight to Egypt to escape Herod's wrath. To make sure you don't miss that thrilling and dramatic chapter, subscribe to the channel and keep your notifications on. Keep following the trail of these ancient stories. See you in the next video. Stay well.